You're listening to TJs One Of Us for the Always Next Year Podcast Studio Network. You can find the team on our Twitter at ANYPodcast. You can also find us on our website, www.alwaysnextyearpodcast.com. And now, to bring us in, the Jackdaws.
A fighting man I used to be, revered and feared through Killarney. Now I'm back, hitching with the wind. But if Mickey Flynn should ever find me, I'll throw me caution all behind me and square off on that son of a bitch again. He cracked open a river too, he beat me Sunday through and through, and such over my unconscious frame. I won me healthy sheriff fights, well lucky soul still had me life since Mickey Flynn beat me dumb and lame.
All right, we are live here with the TJs One of Us podcast, part of the ANYP podcast network. I have Andrew on the line. Andrew, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. I mean, we'll get into it, but it was a rough night between the Sixers and Villanova basketball for me.
Yeah, man. I mean, nothing good was happening in basketball. We just had like a 20-minute technical difficulty here, so I'm about as frustrated as I've been in a long time. Damn near ready to break my computer for like 4 different reasons. Sixers are losing to terrible teams. I don't know, Andrew, hit me with something good here. We need to get something positive going.
Well, we got the Eagles coming off of two wins and a bye, so hopefully they can give us something as they're tied for first in the division again.
There we go. It's dark time in Philly sports when we have to go to the Eagles for a positive thing. I did not think we would need that tonight, but we definitely did. So we are recording tonight immediately after the 76ers lost by 15 to the Orlando Magic in a game where we were in it the entire time and we were winning or tied for the first 3 quarters, and then we forgot how to score the basketball in the fourth quarter. We were without Embiid all night, so I mean that's somewhat of an excuse that I'm going to have to rely on, but I'm just overall not impressed with this performance. I was watching the game kind of on the road. I was watching at work. Then I had to drive home at halftime. And I happened to go into the gym for a little bit so I could run and take some aggression out on the treadmill. I was watching the game. And I went black for about 5 minutes in the fourth quarter. And when I turned it back on, the Sixers were down by 10 points. I don't know how the hell that happened. So, Andrew, can you fill in the black for me a little bit here and tell me what went wrong?
Yeah, all you missed was turnover after turnover. I mean, it was ugly. I mean, it's something that the Sixers have had a problem with since the start of the tanking days, and it wasn't even, they were playing fine defense, but they get a rebound and then they either throw it out of bounds or give the Magic a fast break steal, and it just led to points. And then, I mean, they got in foul trouble. I mean, Magic outshot the Sixers at the foul line by, I think it was over 20 foul shots as the total. They were 26 for 34, while the Sixers were 9 for 13, with only having 1 foul shot going into that fourth quarter. So I think between the turnovers and just getting in trouble foul-wise, that was the biggest issue I saw tonight. I mean, outside, and actually the other fact is, these last 2 games, the Sixers can't buy a three-pointer. I mean, tonight they were 8 for 30.
Yeah, that's an embarrassingly low number. I mean, it's little over 20%, I believe, if I'm doing the quick math in my head here. Like, I mean, the league average is over 10 points higher than that, and it's a disgrace. You can't shoot the basketball that poorly on a night when Embiid isn't in there, when we need to rely a little heavier on the shot. I'm looking through some stats here, trying to wrap my head around the whole thing. Looks like Al Horford took 8 threes. Now, I've said before that Al Horford might be the best 3-point shooter on the Sixers, but there should never be a time when he is shooting 8 threes, especially when he's the only, we're running the offense through him on a night when Embiid's not there. The stats here are not making me feel any better. I keep trying to draw some positive out of this game, but it's a disgrace. We lost by 15 to the Magic in a Markelle Fultz revenge game. Michael Carter-Williams revenge game going on too, and I think they got the best of us. which is making me think, is this Magic team any good? Andrew, what are your thoughts?
I don't think they. I mean, they might fight for. I don't want to say fight, but I don't. They could maybe fight for the 8th spot, but I don't think they're that good. I mean, the other guy we got rid of, they have 3 former first round picks by the Sixers. They also have Nikola Vucevic, which always kills the Sixers. So I mean, I think this is funny. Like, we go through all those tanking years or whatever, and the Magic end up with 3 of our first round picks. But I mean, they got a lot of I don't know, they got a lot of names that stand out, but I just don't think they gel together. Like Aaron Gordon, Fultz, Bamba is I think gonna be a good player. DJ Augustine's been around a while. He's a name, and Terrence Ross is another name that's been around for a while. So they got a bunch of names, but I wouldn't say they got a lot of talent.
I think that's actually a very eloquent way to put that. Little fact that came up too during the game was DJ Augustine. Everyone forgets he was on the University of Texas with Kevin Durant, and he was a lottery pick. He's been bounced around the league. I forget how good he was expected to be. I mean, he was a stud. I think he was an eight pick. But he's been bouncing everywhere. He had some solid minutes tonight. He played 27 minutes. He had 12 points. His plus minus was plus 19, whereas, in comparison, throw some Sixers plus minuses out there. We have Ben Simmons at minus 12, not good. Furkan Korkmaz leading the team at minus 19, disgraceful. Let's see if anyone was positive. Shake Milton was, so shouts out to Shake Milton. He was plus 3, trying to hold it down a little bit. But, I mean, overall, it looks like the Magic outplayed us, and it was a back-to-back, too. That's another thing to remember. I mean, we had a shockingly tough game against the Cleveland Cavaliers the other night, so maybe that played into it. Maybe there was some fatigue. But I don't know. This was an extremely disappointing loss. Now that the Sixers are 7-4 and they're 3-4 away, I'm not happy with anything tonight. And on top of it all, Ben Simmons is now wearing a white undershirt under his jerseys. What's going on with that? The guy looks terrible.
Yeah, I don't like the look. I almost wonder if it has something to do with that shoulder injury, because he didn't have it before he went down and missed those, 2 or 3 games. So I wonder if it has something to do with that, because it is like a tight, compressed undershirt. So I wonder if the trainer almost suggested it for him, but that's the only thing I can think of, at least.
Oh, yeah, it's true. I didn't even think of that. I think I've tried to put the Ben Simmons shoulder injury out of my mind because I couldn't handle if he got hurt and we had to load manage him and Joel Embiid throughout the year. So I'm going to hope for the best on that one and just assume that Ben is a freak athlete and he'll be back. But, yeah, maybe that's why our boy's looking so terrible out there. Under a couple other quick stats. I'm going to go back to the Furkan Korkmaz one for a while. So I actually just spoke very highly of him on our last episode of TJs One of Us when I was talking to Shane for a little bit about it. I talked to Connor on Crossing Borders on Sunday about it as well. And he just fully let me down tonight. I mean, he got some starter minutes, played 28 minutes, and he just kind of lost his shot. Maybe he's not used to playing this much. Maybe he's tired. But for him to go 1 of 6 from 3 is just not good, especially when we're relying on him to shoot threes as our best three-point shooter right now, which is a strange thing that I'm starting to get used to. But I don't know, man. I'm not feeling too hot on my Sixers right now.
I think I'm also, if anyone follows me on Twitter, I'm a big Furkan fan. I have been going off on how good I think he's made tremendous. Is he where he's at, where we want him to be? No, but he's made some tremendous improvement from last year, and I think the offseason really helped him a lot. And I mean, even with that 1 for 6 performance tonight, he's still shooting 40.7% from the 3-point line. So I think overall he's still having a good year, and it was just a bad night for him, which I think is going to happen, and it's good to see it come on the road. But I think one of the most frustrating things to me to this point is everything that's gone wrong this year so far was the same exact problem as the last 2 years, when we keep thinking we're going to turn the corner. And, like, if you think about it, the struggles this year, it's been 3-point shooting just like previous years outside of J.J. Redick. And then as well as they continue to not be able to play on the road. And it's been a problem for the last 3 years. And I don't understand, like, you see it being the problem in the last 2 years. Like, at what point do you fix these things?
It's a good question. How do you get better on the road? I don't know if that's something Brett Brown can teach them or make them do. Like, maybe it's just a huge mental block we have. It's obviously something we need to get over because, you play half your games on the road, and I mean, there's going to be some crucial games in the playoffs. Hopefully, if we're on the road, then I mean, we can't just give those games up. So it's definitely a big problem. 3-point shooting too, as well. It's glaring at this point how much we're lacking there. We did come out. Everyone was well aware of this problem. I mean, no one looked at the Sixers roster and saw someone that they would be like, oh yeah, I want that guy to be shooting threes for my team. We're struggling to find someone that can consistently provide from deep. I do agree with the Furkan Korkmaz thing. I'll step back a little bit from just roasting him there. He's a young guy. He's going to have down games, and I think I just got too excited too quick on it, and I was trying to go back on statements from years past, and it is something to remember. He's a young guy. He's going to have off nights, especially if he's stepping up into this bigger role. I don't know. It wouldn't be a Philly sports podcast if we didn't just totally overreact over a terrible loss. This is the worst loss we've had yet this year, in my opinion.
Well, I agree 100%. Like, I mean, going back, as I mentioned earlier, the fouls. I mean, to have 27 fouls and then on top of that, 15 turnovers against a really bad Magic team, that's not acceptable. And I know, like you said, we want to make the excuse Embiid didn't play or whatever, but Embiid not playing shouldn't cause 27 fouls, and that's just fundamental basketball that you have to be able to fix, especially when you have. I understand Simmons isn't that old yet, and Josh Richardson's still kind of young, but you got guys playing, and James Ennis, who's been around for a while, Kyle O'Quinn, he's been around for a while, Nito's been around for a while, and Horford's been around. I mean, these aren't all young guys, and between, I guess Horford, Harris, and Simmons combined had 11 fouls, and and actually Richardson had 4 as well. So that's 15 fouls from 4 of your starters.
That is crazy. There was a point in the third quarter when Ben Simmons got his 4th foul, and I think that was when I started to get a little worried in the game. You just kind of get that spidey sense, and you go, oh crap, he shouldn't have 4 fouls right now. This could be a problem. We can't have him off the floor, but we kind of need to rest him because he's not around in crunch time. It might be a problem. Which brings me to another point. Ben Simmons in crunch time is something that we do need to work on, especially if we're going to work this load management angle with Embiid all year. We need to be able to rely on him down the stretch to provide for us. Now, I don't know if this is really the game to judge him off of. I think probably the Cavs game is a better one to judge him off of, which we'll get to in a second. But, we're going to need him to start stepping up at the end here, and he just kind of fell apart. I mean, granted, no one had an answer tonight at the end of the game. They forgot to play offense. There were a ton of turnovers, as you said, and it was a big problem. I mean, the team can't fall apart like that in the fourth quarter. I mean, we've just been picking a quarter to kind of take off all year, in my opinion, for at least all the games the 4 games we've lost. I think that's been the issue. It's been just glaring through. I mean, defense, is what we rely on, but to a certain extent, you do need to score. I mean, you can't score 97 points in the NBA and expect to win ever again. It's just not the scope of the NBA. Even against the Orlando Magic, it's not going to cut it.
Not at all. And I mean, and the thing about Simmons, going down in crunch time, if you we both, I think, been on here saying Simmons not shooting has not been, isn't the main issue. But if he's not going to shoot, he's got to be willing to at least take a somewhat inside jumper, or at least be aggressive and go to the there's no reason why he should not have 1 foul shot in a game. And tonight he goes out there and doesn't get 1 foul shot attempt. There's no reason for that. He's got to be aggressive. And I understand he's not the best foul shooter, but as the way he plays his game, like his style of game, he has to at least get to the line at least once a game.
Absolutely, I agree. That's a big problem, him not shooting a free throw, and I didn't even notice that stat until you said it. I think my brain was trying to stop me from even looking at that. Did have a couple awesome dunks, though. I mean, how sweet was that dunk in the first quarter when you just threw that alley-oop down? I got pretty hyped up for that one.
Absolutely, that never gets old. I mean, I feel like we see at least one or two of those a game, which I can continue to watch those.
Yeah, absolutely. That it was funny. I had a game up on. I'm lucky enough to have 3 monitors at my desk and work. So I had the game up on. It starts at 4:00 Pacific time. So I had it up and was watching from the beginning. And someone walked over to my desk. I was like, "What are you doing there?" And then I stood up. I was like, "Oh!" And I got all hyped up when Ben Simmons threw that dunk down. And the person immediately just walked away. I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna leave Scott alone. I think he's got some other stuff going on right now." So I apologize to my buddy at work. But the Sixers are on. Everything else stops.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love to hear that.
Yeah, it was a good moment. Another problem too that I'm noticing is something that we touched on earlier in the week was Tobias Harris he looks scared. He doesn't have an identity right now. He's just not aggressive on offense. And tonight was a great example of that. He went 0 of 3 from 3-point land, which I'm not actually worried about him going over. I'm more worried that he only took 3 3-pointers. I think he needs to be shooting 5 to 8 every single night. I obviously we want him to make his shots, but he needs to just be putting up volume at this point because Furkan Korkmaz, if he's gonna hop in there and spot shoot and stuff, that's okay. That can be his game and he can rely on it. I'm willing to work him into the offense with that. But the fact that Tobias Harris shot 3 3-pointers and Al Horford shot 8 is a giant problem. And it means that we're putting people in a position where they don't want to shoot and they're not that comfortable with it, but they have to because Tobias Harris is not coming through. I think we really do need Brett Brown to make him start shooting more, and I don't know how you do that. We've been struggling to get Ben Simmons to shoot more, but the Tobias Harris one is a real mystery. I just don't know what's going on with him right now.
Yeah, I agree with that. And looking at the way he played last year when we got him, you used the word scared, which I think is a great word to use because last year he was shooting him like crazy. And I think he shot a lot against the Cavs, but outside of that, he really hasn't been taking too many a game. And I wonder, this is going to sound like a weird comparison, but I was thinking, when you use the word scared, it almost kind of made me think of, it's almost like he thinks he has to play perfect because of that contract almost. It's kind of like some fans were saying when we first got Harper at the beginning of the year, when he's he wants to be that guy for the fans, knowing he has that max contract now, he wants to be the fan hero and feel like he has to play a perfect game and do everything.
That's a good take. I like that. Let's go down this path for a little bit. So do you think that last year, because it was pretty well known that he was betting on himself, he turned down the contract in LA, and he was working for his money, and it paid off for him. He deserved that big contract. I mean, I was pretty happy that we got him back. I was pretty happy with the money we gave him. I was real happy with all the stories that came out saying that he was happy to be in Philadelphia and he was real proud of himself for all the work he did. But I agree. Maybe he's got a mental block now. He feels like he needs to be the superstar and that he just kind of became the superstar in LA last year before he came over to the Sixers. I mean, he's always been good, but he was never just relied upon that heavily for his offense. So maybe he's breaking down a little bit with that, and he's just got a mental hurdle going on that he needs to get over.
Yeah, and hopefully that's it. I mean, and I think maybe, I know everyone's tired of these, but maybe you give him a load management game just to sit down, rest, and think about what's going on with him and what's wrong, and maybe just have him be part of the shoot around and just get mentally right and just take a game off maybe. Whether it's, I would like to see him play against the Thunder, but maybe against a team like the Cavs on Sunday, you can sit him for a game and see if that helps. Kind of like in baseball when they bench a guy after a hitting slump. Sometimes that just helps a guy focus, and then after that Cavs game, they go back home, and maybe the home arena just helps him out.
Yeah, I agree. I'm glad he made the baseball comparison because I was thinking the exact same thing. Now, granted, there's double the games, or not exactly double, but almost double the games in baseball, so you can afford that a bit more. But the NBA is becoming an atmosphere where we're worried about players' health and longevity, and cold streaks are definitely a thing, especially when you're a shooter like Tobias Harris, and we need him to be a shooter. That's a good idea. Maybe we sit him down some point soon, give him a little time off. I mean, this is a back-to-back, so all the guys are pretty tired. And on top of that, too, he started wearing those damn yellow shoes like Korkmaz. We can't have two guys wearing yellow shoes. It's a problem. I don't like it. I don't stand for it at all. We need to just end the yellow shoes.
Yeah, where did that come from? Like his shoes were fine, and then all of a sudden, I don't know if Furkan talked him into it or whatnot, but I don't. Have you heard of reasoning behind it? Because I sure haven't.
I haven't heard a reasoning behind it, and Philly sports Twitter and talk radio, like everyone has been talking about these damn yellow shoes, and no one has made a comment from the Sixers about it. It's baffling to me that like they're very obvious. I mean, people who are Sixers fans and not Sixers fans all pointed out. It's one of the first things you notice, and there's no explanation behind it. They don't look good. I don't know. I mean, do we need to start a petition to get them to stop wearing their damn yellow shoes? Because I'll do it. We might have to.
I was about to say the same thing. I said, is the yellow shoes the blame here, and we got to get them banned?
Perfect. So we're going to scapegoat the yellow shoes and blame this loss entirely on them. I know Furkan's been wearing them all year. Tobias Harris has been wearing them for a couple games at this point, but we're blaming the yellow shoes. Get rid of them, and it fixes all our problems, and we'll get back. We'll get to the NBA championship, and we'll all be looking back on this pod in a couple months and laughing.
Sounds good to me. I have one question for you about Harris while we're on him. It's my other thing I want to ask was obviously he says in the offseason he goes through all that workouts and all that stuff to get in better shape. And obviously we give him the contract and we kind of move positions for him. And we move him to small forward, which kind of entails a heavier defensive position. Do you think that more defensive need for him and having to play a quicker kind of player on defense is kind of maybe wearing into his offensive game a little bit?
It might be, because that's definitely a strategy in the NBA. I mean, it's why, Steph Curry's a small guy, but he's not great at defense, and, they're willing to just put him on the off guard and give that up in the game. It's been successful for the Warriors just to not wear him out on defense. Similar to why pitchers don't hit in baseball. You don't want to stress them out mentally. You don't want to stress them out physically. You want them to focus on what they're good at. And if we need to rely on Tobias Harris for offense, which we desperately do, like he has to be a part of our team if we want to go far into the playoffs. And he needs to be putting up 20 points a game. He needs to be shooting 5 to 8 threes a night. Like just without question, I think everyone can agree on that. And maybe the defense is taken away from him. Maybe it's taking something out of his legs, and he's kind of a set shooter too, though. So I don't know. It's an interesting thought. I don't know. What do you think about it?
That's what I was sitting here and I was like, I haven't paid enough attention to like his shot, like in terms of like, is it hitting the front end of the rim or the back end of the rim to tell whether he's like tired or not. So I think it's going to be something I pay attention to these next 2 games, and the next few games at least, and see if that has an effect. But I want to say, I don't know. I want to say no, because he looked fine early on in the year. So I want to lean towards that might not being it, and he is just in a slump, because I thought he came out of the gate kind of fine. And I mean, he has improved defensively. I mean, I will give him that, but I don't know.
Yeah, he is a great defender. I will give him that. And one other thing that we haven't talked about yet, well, actually a couple things. I'm not ready to give up on this game, and we'll try to wrap it up and get a bit more positive here. So we haven't talked about Markelle Fultz in that game quite yet. I'm going to pull up his stat line right here real quick. Let's see. He didn't have a good game. I mean, he had 8 points, but he was just kind of quiet, and I kind of expected that from him. I mean, not because he's normally great and I expect him to be quiet tonight. I just kind of expected him to be a little nervous. I mean, as he should. He's a young guy playing against a team that he thinks gave up on on him. I don't really think we did. I think we gave him more than a fair chance. I don't know what his thoughts are on the city of Philadelphia, but he seems to be kind of scorned by us. There was a point in, I think, the third quarter where he completely bricked a three-pointer. And Zumhoff had the line of the game when he's like, oh, that was a complete brick. And he goes, actually, you know what? Don't you have to hit something for it to be a brick? Because that was terrible. And I saw that and I laughed for a good 2 minutes about it. And, that was the small victory on me tonight. Is like, yeah, we made the right decision with Markelle Fultz. He can go to Orlando. He can have that big contract. Because he's throwing up you can't even call that shot a brick because it was so bad. Like,
That's what I love about Mark Zumhoff is like he tells it how it is, and he's fun and makes those kind of jokes. But yeah, I was dying at that line as well.
Yeah, and then this is where kind of let's end on this game. We had chatted a little bit before about how confused we are with fouls in the NBA this year, especially flagrant and technicals just coming out of nowhere. And that happened again tonight. There was a point where Michael Carter-Williams and Josh Richardson kind of locked legs when Josh Richardson came down from a three-pointer, and Michael Carter-Williams got called for a flagrant foul. What did you think of that foul? Because that was the initial one that started this weird cascade.
So personally, I mean, I think that's the way the league has gone, and I think by rule now, because of the who was it? Kawhi. Who fouled Kawhi on that? I forget who it was, but in that playoff game where Kawhi got hurt against the Warriors because that guy, because he landed on top of that guy. I think because of that, that's where the NBA is going, and by rule, I think that's the way they want it to be called because they have to the shooter has to have a clear lane to come down on, and Michael Carter-Williams got into Richardson's space, so he landed on Williams' ankle, and that's what started it. And I think by rule, I think it shouldn't be that way, but I think by rule, that's the way it's gone.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that is where we're going with things, and we have we're going to call that the NBA Buster Posey rule here because they changed the rule because of the Kawhi thing. I forgot about that. And flagrant fouls have just kind of been called out all year. I mean, we had Mike Scott have that crazy one against, I think it was against the Heat, right?
Yes, the flagrant two.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Because we played the Heat.
Out. He didn't do anything. There was no answer for it. He didn't talk back to the refs. He just kind of laughed and walked out. We never got an answer for that one either.
And I think that's what drives me crazy the most is give us an explanation. Like, you don't have to give me an explanation on every foul call because that'd be ridiculous. But there's not enough flagrant fouls to go around the league each night to not give me an explanation. Like, that should be a thing the NBA gives out, especially on flagrant twos because there's not many of them. If there's a flagrant two in a game, the NBA should be forced to give, whether it's the NBA themselves or the official after the game. Somebody should have to give an explanation on a flagrant two, in my opinion.
Yeah, I completely agree there. I mean, normally if we have a TNT broadcast or an ESPN broadcast, they usually do go to the refs. Even if there's a close foul or anything that gets reviewed on the screen, they walk over to the booth, whomever's calling it, and they say, that was an offensive goaltending. The ball was off the cylinder. We're okay. Or, yep, that was a flagrant foul. It was a flagrant two because there was a fifth thrown. Like, they give some kind of explanation. But that one, or the Mike Scott one, they didn't really give an explanation on. Then tonight again, I mean, they gave a small explanation from the booth. I mean, Zumhoff explained it a little bit, and to your point, I do think that is where the league's going. So that one was somewhat understandable. But then we had the weirdest foul call ever. Josh Richardson got fouled by Michael Carter-Williams the next time the Sixers had the basketball, and he got sent to the free throw line. And then there was a technical call. And there was about a 2-minute period where Zumhoff was like, oh, man, Michael Carter-Williams just got a technical called on him. I didn't see him say anything, but I'm sure he did say something. I really wonder what he said. Wait, hold on. Josh Richardson just got the technical called on him. He's going to the foul line. I've never seen this before. What's going on? I mean, I don't think we got an explanation for that one at all. Or am I wrong there?
No, you're 100% right. I mean, there was no explanation. And the weird thing was, like, the replay didn't even show anything because it just shows them. It was like a close call between a blocking foul and a charge, and then they both got up. Williams kind of walked away clapping, just kind of sarcasm take, and like Williams walked away. So there's not even a point for Richardson to say anything to him. So that's what there's I don't know that's why I have no idea. And I mean obviously we just said Richardson got the call, so I can't imagine him saying anything to the ref.
Yeah, and the one thing in my mind that maybe lends me to thinking is Josh Richardson said something about Michael Carter Williams' mom or like the ref or something crazy because he didn't protest it too much, but he did a similar thing to Mike Scott when he got that weird flagrant too, and he just kind of like laughed it off and was like, all right, if you're gonna call that, whatever. Like I'm not gonna let this fire any further and get another technical, but it was just really, really confusing, and the refs are having a giant impact on the game this year. I mean, obviously that didn't have a huge impact on this one, right? We lost by 15 points, so you can't say in any way that the free throw impacted the game or changed momentum or anything. I mean, we lost, but you can't just call technicals for nothing. I mean, they're a big deal. They really do impact games. On top of that, too, there's monetary fines that come with them, or suspensions that come if players get too many technicals. So the fact that the refs are just overcalling technicals and flagrant fouls is a scary thing.
And I mean, I don't see it stopping anytime soon. And I think it's just I think it's partially to blame on the players themselves. Because, like, if you look at, I saw this in the playoffs last year, like Sixers and non-Sixers players. But every single foul call, whether it's a great call, a bad call, or not, the player's complaining right in the ref's face. And I'm like, at some point, these players got to own up to their own fouls. And the guys I blame the most are guys like DeMarcus Cousins and Draymond Green. There's the two that come right to my head, but because they get suspended all the time because they get too many technicals. But I think, and I'm not saying this is a reason for the refs to give out technicals like crazy, but I think because of the players like that, they're just they're quick triggered to get to let the technical out now. Because the way I look at it is coaches aren't getting technicals like crazy yet, at least. So I think they're still giving those guys a leeway because they're not in their faces much about it. I think they're just trying to control the game a little bit too much because of the complaining going on.
Yeah, I agree. I like basketball best when they let the boys play and the refs are you don't remember anything negative about the refs. You don't remember anything positive about the refs. They were just there. They officiated the game, and then they got out. I think that's how it should be. We shouldn't have to sit here and talk for 5 minutes about how confused we are about a call. I mean, it's not like these guys are, officiating like a sixth grade basketball game and making $20 to do so. I mean, they're paid pretty handsomely for it, and it should be the best of the best. And at a minimum here, I mean, I hope we do get some explanation that comes out tomorrow, and then I'm going to watch the post-game press conference and see if it comes up in any way. But I doubt we're going to get an explanation on this one, and it's maddening.
I would not get your hopes up.
Yeah, I
Well, it was the same thing last night with the Cavs game when Embiid got his flagrant last night. I was like, I get it, he kind of hit him hard, but at the same time, I think, was it Clarkson going up for the layup, and Embiid kind of reaches across him, and yeah, he got a little face, but he got mainly toward the ball. It was a clear hard foul on a layup that he was going after the ball. So I don't see why that was necessary for a flagrant either. And I think the game's going toward it's just getting soft these days.
Yeah, they definitely are as the league transitions to everyone shooting 43 pointers a night, and that bully basketball just seems to be gone, and it's a shame because this is the year that the Sixers decided to play bully basketball. So we'll see how that goes, and we'll see if it really does become a problem later on in the year, and definitely look to see if the league addresses it at some point. They're going to have to. But I think this is actually a great transition into the Cavs game, which we won. I think I saw the best tweet I saw after that game was, well, the Sixers played a basketball game tonight. That's it. I mean, nothing too crazy to be excited about in this one. I mean, I'm not happy about it, but a win's a win, so we'll take it. And that usually against bad teams, that's how I like to treat it. Is we're supposed to win, whether we win by 1 or 100, we won. It's all that matters, and hopefully no one gets hurt. Nothing bad happens, but let's delve into this one a little bit. I All right, so I'll let you set the scene here. How do you think the game against the Cavs went?
So this is another game where we didn't play full strength as we let Al Horford take the night with load management, and because again he's 33, so you don't want him playing back to back too much. But I think this is a game where again they struggled offensively, going 8 for 38 this time, so 21% from three, which is a scare. Luckily, Joel Embiid played a Joel Embiid game. I mean, I think that was the biggest positive for me was I think that's something he realizes that other players on this team don't. When he knows he can make shots, he'll take them. And like he realized he was making threes, so he shot 5 and made 3 of them. So that's a good percentage. And overall, he was 10 for 20. So that's 50% from the field, and he had 16 rebounds to go along with 27 points. So I think that was my biggest sign was like, I mean, I know we expect that from Embiid now, but like, and Embiid doesn't seem like he takes any games off unless he's not like in terms of when he's on the court. And I think Richardson's coming along well as he had a good night too, from just in terms of defense and in general. I mean, obviously, again, he struggled from three, but I think this was more of a game where they almost didn't seem ready to play. It was like you said, they take certain quarters off. I mean, at halftime they had 4 turnovers, and then in the second half I think they had like 10 turnovers. I mean, they're just the tale of who knows which quarter they'll show up and not. And it just the trend continued in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the breakdown quarter by quarter. Sixers lost the fourth quarter 16 to 19. So yikes. I mean, they didn't even score 40 points cumulative in a quarter, where, I mean, this is an NBA where I think the Rockets score like 50 points in a quarter sometimes because they just done so much. But I guess that's the kind of basketball we play, and that's, I mean, when you win a game 98-97, there's got to be a quarter like that. But yeah, it is a big problem. You can't take a quarter off in basketball. I mean, there are only 4 quarters in the game. If you think that you can give up a quarter and lose by 10 points and try to compete on a high level, you're damn wrong, because it's just not how this game works. I agree with the Embiid game, though. I mean, he came out firing, and I love the fact that he did that. It was a night when, like, no one was particularly great except for him, so he just decided to take things into his own hands. And, yeah, I mean, the stat line on him is unbelievable. I like the fact that he shot 5 threes, made 3 of them. To me, I'm not a big fan of him getting away from the basket too much, but in a night where he's taking things into his own hands, I mean, he's doing what he's got to do. And if he's going to make 3 or 5 shots from deep, works for me. I mean, I'm definitely happy with that. Let's touch base again on Tobias Harris in this one, because he had a rough game that night as well. Looking at the stat line here, and I can't believe he went 0 for 11 from 3. So that's not good. I mean, granted, I just ragged him for not shooting enough in the game with the Magic, and I still stand by that. He needs to, just live by the mantra, shoot, and he's going to have an off night or 2 here or there, but 0 for 11 is a gigantic yikes number. He also didn't get to the free throw line at all, so that's another glaring statistic. I mean, yeah, the Sixers, again, in this one, they only shot 13 free throws, so that's just not nearly enough. Yeah, I mean, nothing too crazy about this one. I mean, Embiid thing's definitely positive. Tobias Harris is negative. But overall, I mean, it's a win. They almost didn't pull it out at the end. It was having a bit of a heart attack. Yeah, it was a strange night, but hey, we won, and we gotta have something positive on this show, because if it's all negative here, then I'm gonna have a rough day tomorrow at work. So I'm gonna be thinking about this the whole time. so we gotta say some good stuff about our boys here.
And actually, so hearing your points, I just got 2 questions for you. You mentioned how you want to see Harris like shoot a lot. I'm personally someone like, yeah, tonight going 0 for 3 was kind of low. But when you get to like 0 for 7, 0 for 8, I kind of want to see him, and he kind of did that late in the game. He kind of hit those few big shots around the foul line to get us back within the game after we fell. I think we fell down like 6 or 7 in that game, and it was important to see him kind of take control at the end and realize I'm not hitting my threes. I need to step inside. So And that's my question to you is like, is there at some point you say like, all right, enough's enough for tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a great example of that is Dame Lillard. I'm thinking that just because I have the Blazers game on in the background. I mean, weirdly, I watch as many Blazers games as Sixers games still because they're always on the West Coast. But yeah, there are definitely nights when, I mean, Dame Lillard's one of the best shooters in the NBA. I mean, just throws them up with reckless abandon. But when he's off, he hands the ball off to everyone else. And he makes them all better. And it is a veteran move from Tobias Harris, to take that many shots. 11 is excessive. I agree. You should probably cap it at like 8 and be like, all right, maybe I'm done for the night. Maybe I do something else, like per Dame Lillard. But hitting those shots at the end of the game is big because number one, it shows confidence from the rest or to the rest of his team that he's like, hey, I'm not giving up on this one. I'm still here. I'm still valuable. Plus, you still have to guard me, Cavs. And it's got to be a big mental win for him too. I mean, to go 0 for 11 has got to be a tough thing to swallow. I'm sure he went home and he had a rough night's sleep and he woke up and just that's all he was thinking about. So maybe again that's why he only took 3 shots tonight. But yeah, that is big that he came back and made a couple shots at the end of the game there.
And then the other thing was you bring up you don't want to see Embiid go away from the basket too much. What would you say the perfect number? Because, I mean, he is good enough to shoot a few a game. And I agree. I don't want to see him shooting like 8 to 10 like I think he did a few times last year. But what would you say the perfect threes are for him? Because I'd say shoot for like maybe 3 or 4 a game. Like 5 be the max amount.
I agree. That 3 was the exact number I had in my head. Because, I mean, he is just like such a heat check kind of guy. So, like, he goes down and gets hot and throws, like maybe a big dunk down, and he comes in and hits like a little like hook shot or something. If he pops up on a transition there and he gets the ball and he has a good look at it, he's going to shoot that every time. And I'm always okay with that. I mean, because nothing brings the crowd down more than an Embiid 3 when he like beats his chest and looks into the crowd. I mean, the only thing that gets people going more than that is when he beats up Karl-Anthony Towns. So, and we can't do that every night. But yeah, I think 3 threes is fair, and he'll make one of those nights statistically, maybe 2 every once in a while. So I can live with that. But 5 is okay. Anything more than that, yeah, I agree. That's pushing it.
Okay. I mean, that's why I think like you said, he will shoot that every time. And I think that is the one thing he's got to work on is staying down low, which I think that's credit to Brett Brown at the end of the game there when that to me, that was the perfect drawn up play where it ended up going from they tricked after Harris made those few inside shots around the foul line. They went back to Harris, had a defender come up on him, and then Harris dumped it down to Embiid for the dunk. Like that's something the last few years we would have saw Embiid back at the elbow to 3-point range trying to shoot a game winner from that range. So I think that was, again, it is the Cavs, so I don't want to take too much from it, but to me that was a good sign in that case of a little bit of development in at least the play calling area.
Yeah, I agree, and that's the maturation of Brett Brown. It's the maturation of Joel Embiid. I mean, it's a great point. In the last couple of years, he would have tried to force something up or thrown up a shot from the free throw line area where he's okay, but not, never super successful. Or the Sixers a couple years ago probably would have just like dribbled the ball and then like someone would have kicked it and then like we would have magically lost the game with 1 second left on the clock because we just had zero ability to ever close out a game. So it is a big thing for them to close games out now, and I do think in the NBA, whether you're playing against the Cleveland Cavaliers or the LA Clippers, I mean, it's never easy to close out a game because these guys are big-time athletes and they're all used to winning their entire lives. So it is a big moment when we hit a shot at the end of the game, and then we protect the lead on the other end when we have that little crazy scramble, and the Cavs almost had another shot on it. Yeah, it was a good ending of the game. I was happy with that. I mean, granted, still just, I mean, you clench your butt a little bit there, and you're kind of nervous when they have the ball at 20 seconds. I'm not comfortable with them closing out games quite yet, but it's definitely a good sign early on for us to do that.
That's the Kevin Love 3 there, which caused that scramble. That gave me a heart attack. I thought he he was wide open. I thought he was going to hit that dead on.
Dude, me too. That was just like the way our luck was going. I mean, just I feel like life follows the Sixers, right? So I thought just the way that things have been going lately, we hadn't looked great. I'm having a rougher time at work lately. It's slow time. Like, figured like, all right, this is just how it happens. I'm not meant to have a good weekend. Kevin Love's gonna ruin this game. I'm gonna be all pissed off. I'm gonna lose to the Cavs, and then fuck it, we're probably gonna lose to the Magic too. Then, and then he didn't make it, and it was okay. I mean, that's just the weird mental gymnastics I do in the split second when the ball is in the air coming out of Kevin Love's hands. So. All right. Well, so I think I kind of given some closing thoughts on the other games, so I'll let you take this one, Andrew. What if you had to sum up the way this game went? Anything aside from the Sixers played basketball tonight? Yep, that's it. What would you have to say about this game?
I mean, there's not much else to it because of the opponent. I mean, like we've already mentioned, like a game like this, you just got to find a way to win. And I mean, it's not college. It's not a college sport, so the win doesn't have to be pretty. It just has to be a win. And 3 months from now, when we're looking at the standings, all we're gonna do is remember it as a win. I think the one good sign in this game, I think, after Brown gave my TJOOU some time off really, and saw his playing time dip down, he finally got a little more time in this game, and he jumped right back into where he left off. I mean, 3 blocks and 2 steals. And I mean, you see rookies do that. They usually struggle coming off the bench, but he jumped right into it and wasn't afraid to get back to being aggressive. And I thought that was a fantastic sign just for his personal development. And that was one of the things I took away from this game as well.
Yeah, I agree. Happy to see Matisse Thybulle out there. He's another guy that just kind of makes you smile. He always does something goofy pregame or gets memed in some way. But yeah, I agree. Having him back out there was good. But let's end this game out on that. Happy for Matisse Thybulle. Sixers won. So I did this the other day a little bit, but let's do it again because the Sixers schedule right now is looking pretty good. I mean, lost this game to the Magic. It was a back-to-back. We'll chalk it up to that. Maybe we had a little bit of a hangover because we played 2 terrible teams. We're just playing down to that level. I don't know. We got coming up on Friday. We got Thunder in Oklahoma City. Should be another win. Get the Cavs again on Sunday. I mean, we have to blow them out by 15 points in that game, right? Like, I don't care that it's in Cleveland because we just have to win that. Then we got the Knicks at home. I mean, should be another big win. The Knicks are quite possibly the biggest dumpster fire in the NBA right now.
They might be the biggest mess in all of sports, honestly. Like, they're a train wreck.
Yeah, we had James Dolan kicked out the first fan from MSG for saying the Knicks suck. So that's always a good thing to come up in the news. And nothing makes me happier than when New York fans get upset. Then we have this is something I have circled on my calendar now that the Spurs are actually okay this year. We have a Friday night basketball game on ESPN. I'll be all jacked up watching that. Might enjoy a couple beers along the way. Take that game into the weekend. Hopefully that ends up being a big win. That's at home at the Wells Fargo Center. So if anyone is trying to come up with something fun for the next couple of weeks, I suggest getting out that game on Friday night. Grab a couple hot dogs, grab a couple beers, watch Joel Embiid just dunk all over LaMarcus Aldridge, and enjoy yourself going into that weekend. Then we get a little bit tougher, and we got Miami and the Raptors and Sacramento, but we'll talk about those games later on. I'm as dark as it was in the beginning of this podcast. Looking at the schedule has brightened up my hopes quite a bit. I'm still feeling okay here. I think we'll bounce back and we'll be all right.
Yeah, I agree. Hopefully, I mean, with like you said, the schedule in front of us, these next 3, like you should be able to find a way to win all 3. Hopefully, they definitely win Friday. Luckily, I'm only a few hours away from the stadium, so actually I got tickets to go to that game, so I will be at the Thunder Stadium on Friday and hopefully see the Sixers win, and hopefully I don't rest too many players.
Yeah, that's true for you. That nothing sucks more than when you get all excited, you get tickets for a game, especially for us, right? Because we don't live in Philadelphia, unfortunately, so we don't get to see our boys that much. So when you circle that game on your calendar, you get all excited for it, and then when they rest Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, then I mean nothing takes the wind out of your sails more than that.
Exactly, but I mean, luckily they benched Embiid tonight, so hopefully he is good to go Friday, I would assume.
Yeah, I think we'll have to like DM Embiid or something and just make sure that he's there for you, Andrew, because we can't have you miss out seeing him. No, that's big though. What kind of seats you got going into this game?
So I'll be at section 111, which is in the Thunder Stadium. That's going to be behind the visitor side basket. So I will be the Sixers' offense in the first half and their defense in the second half. I'll be on that side of it. So I'm one section over from where they run out of the tunnel.
Okay, that's huge. So like, there's a good chance that you just get on TV just dapping Embiid up or something, or like you point at him, he points at you, and you guys become best friends. Like, I'm hopeful for this here.
Exactly. This could be the start of the greatest friendship between me and Embiid.
There you go. I mean, when you guys become best friends, like maybe give me an invite to like the yearly birthday party you guys have together.
Oh, that question.
Yeah. All right. So I'm excited for that. That's the best thing to come out of this pod so far. We got Andrew going to the game on Friday. He's gonna have a great weekend here. It is already Wednesday, right? I'm not wrong with that. I've lost track.
It has been a very long week, so I understand that.
Yeah, I mean it's always a long week when Sixers lose and aren't playing well. All right, so let's touch on a couple other things here in the NBA because we haven't talked about the Dion Waiters thing yet on the TJs One of Us podcast. Dion Waiters, for anyone who's not familiar with the story quite yet, was suspended for 10 games after an incident where he ate an edible on the team plane and had a panic attack, and the medical team had to be called in to take care of him, and they were all worried about him, and the outcome of it was he was suspended for 10 games for endangerment to the team, which is a funny way to put like he was an idiot and ate too many edibles from someone he didn't know who. Someone had given him weed that he didn't know how strong it was. I gotta think this is the first time that someone has gotten dinged for eating edibles specifically and having a panic attack in professional sports.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the news. It was like the Heat's plane had to land or whatever early because of this, and like everything like that went into it. I understand their concern for cause. I mean, this has to be one of the weirdest things, and I don't like get his thought process behind it. Like, why would you even take the chance in that case? Like, I this is one of the weird. This is up there with the who was it? D'Angelo Russell last year when he tried to sneak the weed through the airport, like putting it through like a water bottle or whatever. Like this is up there with like that weird, crazy, just dumb thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, in a world where weed is legal in so many different places, you have to be able to get a controlled edible from someone. Why are you taking a brownie from some random Miami hick or they don't have hicks in Miami. I don't know why I said that, but you're just some random guy that you don't know where it came from. Like, you're a professional athlete. You need to take care of your body. And if you want to indulge in a little bit of weed, get it from a known source. I mean, you can definitely afford it because if I could afford it out here in California with, a far more limiting salary than damn sure Dion Waiters, who's been an NBA player for a decent amount of time, is not struggling to pick up a $20 edible from a dispensary or get it from a guy who also went to a dispensary. So I don't know. The whole thing is confusing. I forgot about that D'Angelo Russell thing where he got caught in an airport with weed, which was also stupid. You got to have a fall guy, right? I mean, it's the Chris Carter thing, like telling everyone to have a fall guy in the NBA or the NFL. Like,
Yeah.
You got to have a fall guy for that. That's ridiculous. Like,
But just besides the fact, like, you know how big security is now in the airport because of everything else that's happened. So, like, you should know there's probably a 0% chance of you getting away with anything in the airport. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's a funny situation. It's interesting to see what's going to happen with him.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I don't care if people smoke weed. I don't care if they eat edibles or whatever. Just don't be an idiot about it. I mean, I indulge from time to time myself, but there's never been a time when I've had to take an entire flight down because I've freaked out too much. The other thing, too, is to the medical staff and the team around him. how does nobody else know that he took an edible and that he's just freaking out a little bit, and either, tell him to put his headphones on, put some relaxing music on, give him a cup of coffee, just leave him be and make fun of him for the next couple hours? I don't know, but you have to know that he's doing okay. Like, you shouldn't have to take an entire plane down because the guy just took this edible. I'm sure he wasn't the only one that did it. So, I don't know, the choice from Dion Waiters is suspect. The response from the team and the medical staff, that's suspect as well. I don't know. The whole story just reeks to me that the Miami Heat are just falling apart in this organization. And Jimmy Butler should come back to the Sixers because we miss him desperately.
That's a good point. I never even thought about that. Like, the other players, like, how did they not like help out in this situation or whatever? Like, think about anything that's going on. Like, as a team, like, especially going through the whole off season, getting to know each other, like, you got to know something's up when he's not right. Like, to your point. And I mean, you talk about the Heat being dysfunctional. Just Dion Waiters, like, himself. Like, when I was reading an article about it, I read that this is his second suspension already, and we're 10 games into the season.
That's
like,
impressive, actually.
Like, 10 games in, and he's already suspended twice. Like, I don't know if that's ever happened before.
I mean, that's a record, so never mind. I take back all my thoughts here. He's setting records. You can't take that away from him. This was a concerted effort. He was just going for it here. 10 games is also a weird length suspension. I mean, Joel Embiid beat up Karl Anthony Towns and only got 2 games. So, I mean, if you're going to get suspended, you really should get your money's worth for it. As just beating people up and not eating an edible and having a terrible 4 or 5 hours. What do you think? So locker room culture is such a big thing in the NBA, and there's so much machismo going around. What do you think his team said to him when they all saw him again when he came out of the hospital and wasn't in a full-blown panic attack?
I mean, I don't think it goes well with them, and I think personally, I think it's going to end up causing things inside the locker room. So I think, especially, we already know Jimmy Butler's past, so I think his past. So I think just in terms of Jimmy Butler too, it's going to cause them to butt heads. I mean, I think maybe once they realized he was okay, I'm sure they were trying to crack jokes about it and stuff. But I mean, some of this probably isn't a joke. I mean, and who knows what he's going through? Like, if that's why he took it or whatever. So, like, I hope personally he's okay and all that. But, like, it makes you wonder, like that kind of stuff. But I'm sure they had to be making jokes out of it.
Oh, they have to just rip him apart, right? Like, he's got to now just wake up every day and go, fuck, I'm going to get made fun of again. When will somebody else do something stupid? Like, they need to just make everyone else forget that I just ate an edible and took down the team plane. Fuck. And he's got to live with this. I mean, what do you think the statute of limitations is on this? Like, he's suspended for 10 games, so it's going to happen all through the suspension. It's going to happen probably the first 10 games when he comes back. I mean, at that point, we're 30 games in the year, he'll probably get suspended for something else. Like, I don't know. Like, he might just have a rough season. Maybe he retires.
Well, I mean, honestly, I think that could be where it's going. I think it'll be a funny thing in the locker room, but I don't think he survives this. Meaning, like, I think the Heat will end up releasing him or waiving him, cutting him, or whatever they call it in the NBA. And I don't know. I know if I'm an NBA team, I mean, again, he's already been suspended twice, so I think that would be a concern for me to sign him. So I think they end up getting rid of him, and I don't know if anyone signs him. So this could be the end of his career.
I'm looking through his stat lines right now. I mean, he's just an okay player. Guy makes $12 million a year. It's a lot of money. So, I mean, he lost a ton. I did read that with the suspension, I think he lost, I think, almost a full $1 million just in loss of game checks as well. I think he had some stipulation in his contract where if he played 62 games total or 65 games total, he got some kind of bonus. He's not going to do that now because he's missed 10 games for the suspension. He already was suspended before this, so pretty damn close to it, and it's going to cost him, as it should. I mean, if all you have to do is show up for work, 90% of the time to get $1 million, I think most of us at home could probably do that. I would probably go to work while I was shitting myself, while I was throwing up, do whatever it takes to get that $1 million. But it must be nice being an NBA player.
Right. I'll crawl to work if I got an extra $1 million.
Yeah, seriously. I absolutely would crawl to work. He's been in the league like 6-7 years now. So, I mean, he's had a decent career. I mean, look, we're obviously joking a little bit. He's not going to retire from this, but I can't wait for everyone just to keep ripping on him on this one. And I hope it's a storyline that we end up remembering. If you would do me the solid, Andrew, please remind me of this one every once in a while so that we could rip on Dion Waiters a little bit and feel better about ourselves. Maybe the next time the Sixers suffer an embarrassing loss, we come back to Dion Waiters and just feel a little better about ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. After every loss, we'll just be like, at least we're not in the Dion Waiters situation.
There you go. I mean, the real bitch of this would be if he gets cut from the Heat or traded to the Sixers. Then I don't know how we react to this, and he becomes our new favorite player. So I don't know.
I was about to say, if he does indeed get like cut or something like that no matter what team he signs with, like that would be like I feel like the first joke maybe inside the locker room, like
oh yeah,
just because like you said, this is never gonna go away. So whether he gets cut, signs with the Knicks or whether he signs with the Lakers, like it's gonna be following him forever.
Oh, yeah, for sure. To hit back up on D'Angelo Russell, because we let him off easy there a little bit, bringing up him getting caught with weed in the airport. I mean, the whole Nick Swaggy P and, Iggy Azalea thing that he narked on, I mean, everyone forgot about that eventually, but it took a couple years. So, I don't know. People don't forget, especially in NBA locker rooms, because they're all guys just like us. This is one of the times when I'd like to be a fly on the wall, just when Dion Waiters is getting relentlessly ripped on. So yeah, we're gonna keep following this one. This might be one of my favorite storylines of the year thus far.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be hard to beat it, at least in terms of humor wise.
That's true, but I dare someone else to do it. 'Cause I would love to go off on something else for just another 10 minutes. This brightened up my day. I've got a big smile on my face now. The week's been a lot better. So, Andrew, thank you for talking through the Dion Waiters situation with me here. And, if anyone at home has some other thoughts on it, they want to take a jab at Dion Waiters, tweet at both of us. Andrew, why don't you throw your ad at the people here so maybe we can get some interaction here?
Mine is AJ_Santangelo, which is SANTANGELO.
And I'm SP Novick, and that's NOVICK. We're trying to work on some engagement here at ANYC. We want to hear from the fans because we're nothing without you guys. So, whether you want to talk to us about the Dion Waiters thing and share your thoughts on edibles, funny or not funny. I mean, how could you not make this a funny thing? So, obviously, that's the way you're going to go. If you want to talk about Tobias Harris not shooting enough, you want to talk about Ben Simmons' undershirt, you talk about the yellow shoes. I mean, we covered so many topics tonight. We've almost been going for an hour here, and yeah, I think the show started out a little dark. We rounded it back pretty good, so I think we're gonna get ready to close this one out here. Andrew, do you have anything to leave the fans with here before we say goodbye to them for the week?
I would just say don't panic yet. I think it's too early to hit the panic button, which some fans have. Oh, you meant on the Waiters thing? My bad. I thought you meant on the team as a whole.
No, I meant the panic thing because you had a panic attack. It was a good choice of words.
Yeah, I just say don't panic yet. I mean, just continue to play this out. It's still early. We're only 11 games in, and I still believe we'll eventually trade for a pure shooter that will help us. And I think just continue to watch this team because it will even out once they get a lot of games together and learn each other's chemistry.
That's a good point. We're still 7-4. We're still gonna win the East. Not worried yet. Not panicking. And then my closing thought is just look for Andrew on TV because he's starting up a budding friendship with Joel Embiid. We decided they're gonna be boys for life after this one. So everyone look out for that. And with that, we're going to leave you here from TJs One Of Us podcast. We probably won't get back to do another one until early next week. We'll try to get Shane on. We'll try to get Andrew on. I like this 2-week thing. It's working nice for us. So with that, I say goodbye for the week.
A fighting man I used to be, revered and feared through Killarney. Now I'm back to hitching with a win. But if Mickey Flynn should ever find me, I'll throw me caution behind me and square off on that that son of a bitch again. He cracked open a river too, he beat me Sunday through and through, danced a jig over my unconscious frame. I won me healthy sheriff fights, well lucky son, still have me life since Mickey Flynn beat me dumb and lame.